Mr. Govan Mbeki, popularly known as Umkov, earlier on he had described an organization as a collective ability to solve the problem of the people. And indeed, in this regard, the ANC, as the leader of society and leader of government, is expected to solve or to resolve the problems that are confronting our society in South Africa, which compels the ANC to ensure that at all material times, appropriate, capable, trustworthy leaders are elected into positions of leadership. And in ensuring that such leaders are placed in positions of responsibility to lead the ANC, it was in 2007, the 52nd conference in Polokwane, where the conference resolved to adopt a guiding document called Through the Eye of the Needle, that would then be a basis that would guide the organization as to what kind of a leader must be elected to lead the ANC, starting from the branch, your region, province, and national. And as we know that in few weeks to come, the ANC will be going to its 55th national conference. Some have described that conference as a watershed moment for the ANC, given the challenges, internal challenges of factionalism, cadre deployment, corruption, and so on. And some have described that that this coming conference will be a watershed moment for the ANC, given the types of leaders that would be elected. But of course, also we are also joined by our resident political analyst, Mr. Mpho Maake, to take us through as we start this series of where we'll be engaging on the front runners for the ANC coming in the December conference, but would also want to interrogate and unpack this criterion that has been set by the ANC through the eye of the needle. To unpack it, Mr. Maake, you have also penned an article, and that article you have titled that article ANC stepping aside eye of the needle. Are you then suggesting that the ANC is ignoring, despite all this leadership and factionalism that is confronting with, is yet again stepping or ignoring the guidance of set in the through the eye of the needle document?
No, thank you, Mr. Modise, and the viewers. Yeah, it's a very good question at the right time.
Yeah.
And whether if this type of questioning and phraseology, whether if people agree with it or not, only time will tell.
Yeah.
You can only say how nice is the pudding only after you taste.
Yeah,
you know.
Indeed.
So, but the fact of the matter is, when we observe the current leadership crop that leads the African National Congress, you would agree with me that even in the circulating discussions now about leadership, people are calling for the Oliver Tambo type of leaders.
Yeah.
People are calling for the Chris Hani type of leaders.
Yes.
People are lamenting the current leadership crop that they are seeing. Some are parachuted to national structures, to cabinet, to top government positions, without having gone through the eye of the needle. Yes, the guiding line is partnered by your strategy and tactics.
Yes.
You go through the eye of the needle to achieve the objectives set out in strategy and tactics.
Yes.
If you look at them, they are both trying to also cover what the constitution of the country says. Where does the country want to go?
Yeah.
The preamble, yes, that talks about building a non-racial, non-sexist, peaceful, united, democratic society. And then if you look at it further, it talks about creating an enabling environment for a developmental state, capable, able developmental state as a goal and objective in the strategy and tactics document. But now these things, they require a particular type of leaders, leaders that are able to ensure that they stand the test of time. You have mentioned in your opening very well, you have mentioned issues like corruption, careerism, which is criticized in through the eye of the needle. It says that we must avoid choosing leaders that are careerist, leaders that are not yet tested, leaders that emerge right now, leaders that have not gone through the test. Even if you go to the constitution, there is somewhere it tells you that for one to be in the national leadership, they must at least have spent 12 years.
That is the ANC constitution.
Yes. So you can see that this discussion is suited for this era, because the ANC talks about renewal. The ANC talks about, okay, the other campaign talks about a new dawn. But that new dawn, if you read the statement in its entirety, it seeks to embrace the issue of ANC on its renewal drive. So when you renew, it's because you can see that there is something that is not right with the system. Hence you want to renew, which means you want to go back to your original, pure, perfect self. So, be that as it may, many people would say that, no, this is just politicking. This is factionalism. You've also mentioned the issue of factionalism. No one can deny that the ANC is like a body that has a cancer growing from within. And that cancer, if it's not dealt with, it's going to destroy the system first internally, then it will explode outside. And you know what happens when cancer becomes rife. There is death. So you look at it, you can see that if not addressed properly, the issue of leadership is very critical for a movement that is also a party that leads government. You have instability in the country right now, and you ask yourself, if these leaders have gone through proper screening, if these leaders were not compromised in terms of their character, in terms of their revolutionary consciousness, in terms of their own morality, do they stand moral standard? Can they stand on a good moral ground? If those leaders cannot, then we ask, then who chose them? How were they chosen? You hear discussions of, in national conferences, people come with bags full of cash, buying votes, buying, delegates that are not really having a clear understanding, who do not really understand that the organization. There are people in the ANC constitution that are categorized as they are still trained, they are still undergoing training, they are still in probation. Such people cannot be delegates because definitely they don't understand the movement very well. So it's very important, the issue that is being discussed right now, it's very crucial that when you go to national conference, make sure that you are not taking voting cows. Make sure that you are not going to renew yourself with elements that are not going to even understand the very same subject of renewal itself. The issue of you cannot put a new wine in old skin because it is going to burst. You see, so it's that issue of the criteria.
Maybe if you could highlight or paraphrase key elements
Yes.
of the through the eye of the needle.
Yes, through the eye of the needle, you look at it, it was conceptualizing. I remember I was reading also somewhere, I think there's a comrade who, Peter Mzala.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a reference made to a quality of a revolutionary comrade like Peter Mzala. The person who many people would agree that he was revolutionary, infested. He had the spirit of revolution. Look, you are talking about a comrade who sacrificed their life, comrades who risked it all. Most of the front runners in the campaign, we'll talk about it in due time. They will tell you that they have struggle credentials behind them. They were in the trenches. They came from Robben Island. They were tested and tried and tested. But through the eye of the needle, basically talks about an accountable leader. A leader that is ground rooted from the branch. Your branch must know you. You must have served. You must have been tested within your branch. You must have came through the ranks from branch level, regional level, provincial level, national level. When you have passed through this stage, all these stages, and you have been tested as a dependable, loyal, genuine comrade, it discourages a comrade who would gossip about other comrades. It discourages a comrade who really is there for their own selfish interest. But you look at the kind of leaders we have today. Instability is not caused only by the issue that people are differing politically, but mostly by the fact that people are looking at their own jackets. We are now in an era, a state of politics of stomach. We talk checkbook politics. We talk vote buying. Through the eye of the needle, touches very, very sensitively on this issue that we need leaders that are trained. We need leaders that have gone through it all. We need leaders that really understand the movement. Now, we talk of generational mix. We talk about gender parity, 50-50. Certain seats must be reserved for certain categories, be it youth, be it women, be it Veterans League, be it what. But the fact of the matter is, there is a quality, there is a criteria already set out in the document, the guiding policy, through the eye of the needle. You must have served for a particular period. You must have gone through a basic understanding of the organization and its structures and how it operates. One time when we were discussing something like this, someone asked a very pertinent question. Was it correct for the Secretary General, who's now under suspension, to solo dash suspend the president? Then you ask yourself, what happened? We know that Comrade Makashule has a track record in political history. In his youth, in his life, it has been inside politics. But you ask yourself, then what happened? Were there lapses? Where did the lapses happen? How come would a seasoned leader, a seasoned politician at that level would make such a error? But it's because it's not only the problem of lapses. It's also our systems that we do not change. It's also our constitutions we do not amend from time to time. It's also our guiding documents that were based on certain ideas. You have quoted OMGov. When was that? When that was written? Is it relevant? We must check that, okay, this can still be applicable. For example, are we as South Africans in the post-apartheid era, in a democratic phase, can we still talk about people who struggle? Can we still talk about poverty as we talk about it during apartheid time? What makes people poor now? Are there laws that forbid people from, accessing opportunities that will end their miserly lifestyle? Or are there certain individuals who are supposed to ensure that poverty is being alleviated, but they are not doing it? So it's the whole issue of the criteria, is the whole issue of targets as well. Yes, you want this accountable You want these self-serving leaders, people-centered. You want these intelligent or agile leaders. You want these well-rounded and very intelligent leaders who are decisive. But for a what? For a particular objective, for particular purposes. So we want goodness to reach perfection. We want quality to produce a good quantity. So at the end of the day, if our objectives are not properly set, like not screening leaders, how do you expect a broken car to take you to a correct destination that you want? It cannot happen. It is obviously impossible. So that is why this is a defining moment. You are saying, people are saying that it's a watershed moment. It's a decisive moment as well for the ANC not to renew itself only, but also to give direction to the country. The kind of leaders that are raising their hands now, the kind of nominations that were made, if they did go through the eye of the needle, one would ask, where was there this revolutionary morality consciousness? Do all candidates there, can they stand up and say, no, my record is clean, I have nothing to hide? If it was so, there was not going to be the debacle we see now with step aside. However one can call it. Others are saying it's just being used to disadvantage others. Others are saying, no, it's a shambok.
It's been politically weaponized.
Yeah, it's a shambok weaponized to shambok others who are not listening to this function. But the fact of the matter is, if there was a proper following, adherence to through the eye of the needle guidelines, the constitution, strategy and tactics, and the own disciplinary code of the organization. You read the ANC constitution, it does provide membership clauses, duties of members. What kind of members do we want? So it's not only about through the eye of the needle, but it's also about that thing of Peter Mzala used. I think it was Mahmoud Mamdani, I think so, who wrote a piece, or Leslie Dikeni. I think it was Leslie Dikeni and Melvin Gumet. They wrote a book there, and they were talking about in that chapter the kind of leadership, the kind of leaders that society needs today. You need agile leaders. You need leaders that have those 4 principles: criticism, self-criticism. Leaders that are able to self-reflect, to see, but this case of digital vibes, for example, how does it reflect me on society? This issue of health, corruption in the Department of Health in Gauteng, how does it, how am I perceived out there? Then by your own morality, revolutionary consciousness, you step aside. But now, as the title of the article states, it was actually a question or an open statement. Is the ANC stepping aside?
The eye of the needle.
Through the eye of the needle. Because if it was not, then someone who will answer and say, no, it was not. The person has to then provide. What happened in Limpopo? What happened during the provincial conference when certain members clearly accused of certain misconduct, certain misbehavior? VBS saga, Razilani, I think she's Florence, Comrade Florence. She's been nominated and she's standing and she was successfully elected. Msibi case. Yes, one would say others are being cleared. But you and me, we are talking about the kind of qualities and criteria for screening purposes that these guidelines set. You also mentioned KwaZulu-Natal. Let's not forget KwaZulu-Natal. But not only that, let's go to Eastern Cape. There is also a case where people are asking, but is Comrade Oscar really in good standing? I mean, so there will be that issue of the morality and the step aside.
While others are saying I listened to Gauteng Provincial Secretary TK and Minister of Cocta.
Maile.
No.
Oh, Minister.
Yeah,
oh, yes. And
yes. Nkosazana.
Yes, the Minister.
Yeah, who are arguing that, in fact, the step-aside rule must be amended based on the national country's constitution, that you are innocent until proven guilty, but with step-aside is vice versa.
Yeah. Hence, hence you have a guideline in order to use it as to mirror the person that you want to see. You have the guideline to mirror the person that you want to see, to reflect actually the outcome that you want, the outcome of the product. But once you look at the guideline like this, you are not going to see that guideline. You'll only see the outcome that you want. Now, it's not only Minister Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, Lindiwe Sisulu, and it's very not only interesting, it's fascinating, especially at this juncture, that you have people that are also, whose names are nominated, who are raising their hands. I've never heard even one saying, no, I'm not available, I decline, because I still have to clear my name. I decline because there are questions around my work. One of them was asked, in your department, this and this has been happening. And the person said, no, I was not found guilty at any forum. No, we are not speaking about guilt or innocence. We are speaking about monies that disappear. We are speaking about tenders that are offered in a dubious way. That's all we are asking. We are not speaking about court process. Now, Comrade Ace Mahashule, your guess is as good as mine. What is going to happen? Will the comrade be in the conference or not? Even if it's not there, as long as nomination was allowed in provincial conferences for someone's name to be raised in absentia, and the person is even elected and is successfully
as it was done
in Mpumalanga, in KZN, and in Mpho as well. So the question is, don't we need, Mr. Modise, don't we need to also have this thing of monitoring and evaluation of our guiding principles of the resolutions themselves? The reason that the ANC find itself where it is right now is because conferences once after 5 years. You come up with a resolution in 2017. No, we are now going to follow through the eye of the needle perfectly. No, we want those who have done 1, 2, 3, those that are questioned, those that credibility is questioned, to step aside and clear themselves first. But you don't have a mechanism to check and monitor the implementation of this particular resolution. If I remember, Constitution of the ANC says that the Secretary General is entrusted with that responsibility somewhat, because it says he or she should make sure that all the departments function properly. He or she should, as a chief administrative officer, as well as a CEO, term CEO, the custodian of that office should ensure that Congress resolutions
are implemented,
decisions he's following he or she followed them up to make sure that they are being implemented. So it's one individual who's given this responsibility. What if that resolution speaks against that particular incumbent? What is going to happen?
But maybe there's the failure of the office of the SG to follow up on that.
No, but then what if this SG, as we speak now, this SG, his own, his own activities are questionable. I cannot take myself to a guillotine machine to be guillotined. No.
Before that one, I wanted to zoom into this one of implementing resolution.
Which is very, very crucial.
Holding, as the Constitution says, that is the SG is entrusted with
that responsibility
of, overseeing all the departments.
Okay, perhaps not only him, but maybe he could establish a particular.
No, because and that's where I want to come to come to that the SG as the CEO. He has what we call the chairpersons, the NEC chairpersons of subcommittees.
Yes.
And the chairpersons of subcommittees on various departments, both in government and the ANC, would be to oversee
implementation of resolutions and decisions.
And then the SG must then rein hard on those chairpersons, and the failure of ANC implementing its resolutions, it would mean that the SG has
the engine
the engine has failed to hold exactly
the engine does not function properly.
He has failed to hold the chairs of subcommittees accountable.
Yes.
But another challenge is that you'd find that the chairperson of a subcommittee on education, the chairperson himself or herself is a minister.
So the person has to account
to another department.
Yes. The reality.
And then one would have to fail somehow. I'm not sure
right now
your take on that.
Right now there is this collapse strategy that is emerging very strongly. The collapse strategy would mean if there is a forum where I am questioned, the only way out for me is to collapse the system so that I'm not held accountable. I'm not speaking about names of people, but I'm just saying this in passing, it looks like we have reached a stage in this country where a collapse, a smash and grab type of an approach, is being used, muzzling over processes so that there should not be accountability. I'm not quoting anyone. This is just something I'm coining for now, looking at what is happening. So on the issue of accountability and monitoring and evaluation, it's very important, but also you raised another issue of system failures, where you find duplication of roles, where you find concurrent responsibilities, things that were supposed to be centralized into one body, one structure, one office. Now they are found in this section and this section. You are so correct. I don't think it is correct that when people serve in government should remain serving in executive positions, be it BEC or REC or NEC, because this person, the fact that now is a boss of certain people, like you see the issue of, let's say, election of Panyaza Lisufi. Yes, he's now the premier of Gauteng. The PEC that serves with former President Mbeki as well, just to wrap it up. Yes, he did not only contribute, he still wants to offer himself, to advise the leaders, to debate issues.
The wisdom, share.
He's still an elder who is providing his wisdom, So, that's your leadership troubles that we experience throughout the country. Broadly, the country is implicated.
So where to from here? We have the guiding documents in place. We have the systems in place, and all of this, it would seem that they are being ignored. Hence the, the crisis that we have. Should we then look towards what Kgalema Motlanthe said, that if all this fails, then the ANC must then lose elections and come back again? can South Africa, the poor black majority, really afford the ANC losing elections,
or death of the ANC,
or death of the ANC? Can we really afford that to happen? So where to from here? What is the way forward?
Yeah. Remember, I made an analogy of a cancer.
Yeah.
A system that is cancerous.
Yeah.
If the ANC does not correct itself, others would say self-correct.
Yeah.
If the ANC does not correct itself, then society as a whole, you can see South Africa. It reflects that cancer coming outside. This lawlessness, these political killings, this tender mafia killings, this high crime rate, high rate of unemployment. People are disillusioned. People are discouraged. Zama issues where people are shooting one another.
Indiscriminate.
Yes, underground. And the prevalence also of mafias. Be it in the tender construction, be it in the taxi industry, be it in spaza shops, informal business. There's a lot of contraband that is going in and outside the country, without any panic, as if there is no law in this country. So you've asked, where are we going? What does this tell us? This tells us that that this cancer has reached a very dangerous state, which can kill this body of ANC. It can die. But there is still time.
Yeah.
There is still time. If in the national conference, correct people, correct delegates will make it to the national conference. If people are having discussions as we speak right now from branch level, discussing the needs of the society, discussing the coming up with proper leadership, good leadership material that will go there not to serve individuals' jackets. In 2021, over 300 people died. People were saying they were defending one man.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that? So you can see that we are still a society that needs that through the eye of the needle. Political education, revolutionary consciousness, serve, suffer, and sacrifice.
Yeah.
Not for you to use your politics as a career. No, but use your politics to transform and change society. Overly revolutionary favor within you.
Yeah.
Yes, we know that the generation of today is not that generation of apartheid, but there are new struggles today.
Yeah.
Hence, I was juxtaposing the life and times of Governor Mbeki and his sons. I was not saying this one is good, this one is bad.
Yeah, yeah.
These are different people who existed in different eras.
Yeah,
Their struggles are totally different.
Yes.
Their approaches will be totally different. So which means the ANC now needs to seriously consider putting in leaders of now, leaders of today, leaders that can look into society problems and provide solutions now. So that's why I said, even if you can refer to through the eye of the needle, the question is, when was it penned?
Yeah.
When these principles were established? What was intended? So this is the opportunity. That watershed moment is now upon us. At National Conference, the conference need to go and deliberate truly about renewal, openly and fairly about step aside resolution, openly and fairly about the kind of leaders that the country needs, Africa needs, and the world needs, not only sectional or factional interests.
Yeah.
A socio-economic political interest of individuals, but they must look at the whole issue of poverty, inequality, unemployment, crime, high crime rate, GBV, all these maladies that we have in our society. So the question is, if we choose this comrade, is this comrade really going to deal with inequality? Is this comrade able to come up with policies or ideas that will change where we are right now. You know, so I heard one of the leaders, front runners, was asked questions, and I was disappointed because if you stand for an election, for example, if you stand for presidency and they ask you 2 questions, what are you going to do if you become president? Let's say about ESCOM. You must not tell us, or I must call press conferences, I must go and meet the CEO or the board. No, you tell us what you're going to do. Then we know this person is the material we can go with. But if you are mumbling, you don't even know what you are going to do, then that means you are going there for your own self-interest. There's no impact that you are going to make. So I imagine a conference that will ask delegates will ask nominees, will ask candidates that are being nominated hard questions.
You know, let's look at the responsibility and quality of the delegates themselves, because in most often than times we throw everything on the shoulders of front runners or those who would be elected and neglect the important work.
The electors.
Those who are attending the conference must themselves do, which is to debate and come up with policies that would address the malaise in the country. You know, those that you referred to, your GBV, crime.
Water crisis, energy crisis, unemployment.
That is so let's look briefly on this type of delegates. That what type of a delegate must then be attend.
The problem is, if you look at it, it even caused this instability that is experienced across municipalities. You have rented people, rented mobs. You look at courts. When you go to courts, people hire and rent mobs that go to court to make noise, to toy, insult someone, and demand that the magistrate or the judge must not give so and so bail. What about the law of the country? What about the judicial process, the fair judicial process? One. Secondly, even if politicians go to court, the same rent a mob case where someone bus people to courts, buy these people whatever kind of goodies, and give them a particular sum for support. So we have reached the stage of corrupt politics. Politics where there are mobs that are rented, votes that are being bought and sold, candidature that is being bought and sold. So that tells you that it means even the delegation that we delegate to national conferences or to proper forums where there should be, where changes must we cannot get there because of the quality of the people you have. You go to a branch meeting, any branch meeting, many people will tell you it's no longer safe to speak in branches because you are visited at night. You know, people are being killed, people are being shot. We have now over hundreds and hundreds of political killings. KZN, I don't even want to speak. Councillors are being shot. Comrades are being killed. You know why? Because of we have stepped aside so far away from our guiding principles. Through the eye of the needle is being stepped aside. It's been sidestepped. I even heard Lindiwe Sisulu in one of the interviews speaking very, very clearly on this matter, that we have shortchanged ourselves. Although she was speaking about the 1994 deal, the elite deal that was reached. No, it seems we really reached a certain compromise. We've bent backwards too much. But that is stepping aside things that you're not supposed to step aside, like your fundamental principle. If you want to go and get a proper outcome from the national conference, you have correctly put it. then get the proper material. You cannot get people who cannot even debate in national conference. You know, I can imagine the quality of debates in national conferences. It's a conference maybe of 5,000, more than 5,000 people. You know, about 6,000 or so, if my calculations are right. Then that means there must be debates, because these people are going to chart the national discourse. But if you take people who will be paid with KFC and 50 rand and alcohol and 1, 2, 3, 4, they are going to a social club. They are not. So it means you don't take that gathering serious. I would ask someone that, are you going to a national conference? Yes. What is your key issue there? Nothing. I'm just going to wear a t-shirt and see.
What has the branch coined?
Yes.
You know, what is the interest, you know, the policy interest of your branch?
Yes.
Which cause are you going to champion there?
So you have rented mobs, one. The votes that are being bought and sold. Delegates that were not supposed to be there. Now, instability is caused by this. You have the opposition that wants to bring change. In what way? They say, no, we want to change things. The corruption must die, chronism must die, do away with cadres inside government. But when they are in charge themselves, the very same practices persist. So it tells you that we have a cancer in this country that we need to deal with. The quality of leaders that we choose. We don't choose leaders because they have a political background. I know that in through the eye of the needle, there is that thing that you must consider. Robben Islanders, exiles, veterans, you know, people who were tried and tested, but it does not end there. It says you must also look to vibrant young people, women, you know, that are able to bring change. You know, it even talks about, even in the ANC constitution, that the National Conference or the National Executive Committee can bring in people from outside who are not even members of the organization, but who have a particular skill, who have a particular knowledge that we can benefit from. So it shows you that there is that level of inclusivity. So what I'm saying is the lapses of lack of monitoring and evaluation, following up on resolutions and decisions, not putting proper structures that will ensure this, and elected structures. If you come up with committees, remember committees are nominated. Committees are not necessarily elected. So they lack executive power. The executives have a tendency of saying, I will account to Congress.
Who are you?
Remember someone said, I'm going to account at conference. I was elected by national conference. And the person is right. If someone is elected by a highest decision making body, who are you to then expel this person? So the person says, no, I came here through on the auspices of national conference. Now I'm coming to give my report to the national conference.
Well, as a parting shot, to deviate a little bit from the main, but I'm triggered by the very point that you are raising. Can the suspended SG, as being suspended currently, as status quo is, can he then write to the conference and ask conference to give him a hearing?
Look, it's a very tricky one, because he's the one who's supposed to receive that communication. So it means that the SG would be writing a letter to himself and submit it to the national conference. But be that as it may, in terms of the constitution, every member of the African National Congress who was elected as NEC is an ex officio. So automatically his attendance, his availability, his presence is not questioned, is unquestioned. So if he does not make it at the national conference, then it will be shenanigans that we have been accustomed to in the build-up to the December National Conference. But the fact of the matter, ANC National Conference is hardly a court of law. ANC National Conference is hardly any other forum or factional, grouping. It's a conference of delegates of the African National Congress who will receive report, analyze everything that has happened in a term of office of elected members. So Comrade Mahashule, as an elected official of the National Executive Committee, moreover a top 6 member, he has to go there and the conference must pronounce on him. Imagine how will it be if he's been expelled without hearing him out, without hearing his side of the story. So this is an opportunity, I imagine, for him to sit down, pen that letter, and make it find a way to the current Comrade Gwen Ramkopa mending that office now. Write the letter to...
But then, what if they say, no, it's fine, we hear the letter, we received the letter, but have you resolved your legal issues?
That's why I said the National Conference is nothing else than the National Conference of the African National Congress, not a court of law. You see, so that is why I said, when you come up with resolutions and decisions, but you do not provide the processes how to go about. You can have a beautiful resolution, but if you do not know where to locate it, there are no systems to make sure that the resolution is being followed up and is being implemented timelessly. You cannot have a resolution of 2017. Now it's 2022. The resolution, nothing has happened about it. Then why did you come with that resolution? And that is why the ANC is in a crisis that it finds itself. Not only ANC, broadly political parties, because they want to over-politicize everything. There are certain things they want clear and proper, effective administrative processes, even if they are political. You can't have courts dealing with political matters. No, you can't have that.
Well, on that note, Mpho Maake, let's leave it there and trust that the comrades and the delegates will be attending the 55th National Conference would do their best to engage on the issues of national importance, and they are themselves qualified to
capable
and capable to attend that conference, which much of us, and not only us here at home, but the entire continent and the globe is really looking forward to the resolutions that will be pronounced on that conference. Well, this has been the Roundtable Talk on Tshwane Talk TV. I'm Frans, Molefe, Modise. Till we meet again, God bless.
Thank you.